We start with the Pledge of Allegiance and ask you to stand if you're able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to order, roll call, starting on my right.
Councilperson Josh Ryan.
Councilperson Brent Byer.
Mayor Jimmy John King.
Councilperson Craig Anderson.
Councilperson Jeremiah Older.
We'll look for approval of tonight's agenda. Any additions from staff?
Should be okay from here. Make note that our library director is tardy.
All right.
Let's get to it.
Is there a fine for that, like if a book's late or something?
He just has to hand over any money any proceeds from the book sale.
Oh, okay. We'll be looking for a motion to approve the agenda then.
Second.
Motion to approve in second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries. Approval of council meeting minutes. We'll first approve the special meeting minutes of August 10th, 2021. That was a budget workshop.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion on that one? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that one carries. We'll move on to approval of regular meeting minutes of August 10th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that also carries. That'll take us to finance and budget. Got the accounts payable listing there. If you have any questions, we can ask Finance Director Carla.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve finance and budget. Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries. That'll move us right into motions and general business. First item under motions and general business will be approval to hire Lydia Fryer as a library page position.
Got anything to add about her that we need to know?
She wants to be a pilot when she grows up. So, kind of,
What grade she in?
she's gonna be a senior.
Okay,
So, yeah, that's her plan.
She seems pretty enthused though and good to go.
Yeah, and has like a bunch of customer service experience. I think she and Ava are gonna balance each other out really well.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve that.
we have a motion to approve the hiring of Lydia. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next item under general business is approval to communication with RPD. Just a second here. In the light of recent discussions regarding our proposed Olmsted County law enforcement contracts, we are requesting council approval to enter into discussion with Rochester Police Department to explore other options. This motion would authorize Mayor King, Councilmember Anderson, and Administrator Schimmel to start communication with Rochester Police Department in regards to law enforcement. Discussion, questions?
So we're just talking to them to see if they can give us a better price or a comparable price.
We're going to explore all options available to us
Okay.
when it comes to law enforcement in the light of, we're looking at a 40% increase in our law enforcement budget. And if we can, it's kind of our duty, we were elected to keep an eye on the budget and people's tax dollars. So if we can reach out to other places and find out, we just need to know if, like if we're buying a used car, is there a better one for the same price or is it cheaper or whatever, so. We're going to reach out to and communicate with RPD and see what they have to say. So,
I think with the proposal that, Kevin Torgerson sent, with the new one, I mean, I think that's just a no-brainer that we have to, check out other options due to, what he's expecting us for the raises for the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, keep in mind that this too is simply just like the mayor said, just checking an option. We're gonna have a ton of discussion on a lot of things regarding this moving forward and look at everything all the way around the board. So that's how we're looking forward to tonight, I believe.
Yep, just we're just requesting that we were able to reach out, so make a motion.
I'll make a motion to, approve to reach out to Rochester Police Department.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say,
Can I say something or not?
I'm gonna let you.
I just have a question.
Yep.
If we're gonna reach out to RPD, shouldn't we have somebody that's doing that that's not on RPD? That's what the citizens are worried about.
Oh, you mean as far as me?
Yes.
Well, I'll gladly sit out of it. I don't, trust me, I don't even wanna be involved in this as much as I am right now, so.
Basically, the reason it's us two is we're personnel committee, and this would be personnel will be hired. But like Craig said, he's not opposed to stepping down. He's actually,
I've actually been, for the
he's
most
probably
part,
the most,
in favor of staying with what we got.
the voice of the opposite, to be honest with you. So if you're worried about him just trying to promote RPD, I mean, I'll tell you right up front, he's the one doesn't really want us to,
It looks like a stacked deck, though.
well, that's fine.
So,
We'll
but-
step him down.
Yeah, I'd be glad to stay out of it.
He's
There's
got no
nothing
problem
there.
with it.
My big thing is that for me to go to you guys overnight, basically, and say that I have to increase your law enforcement budget by 40% in 1 year, 40%, that's a big ask. So I can tell you, we have a ton of research to do. So one of those options is what's available in our county, which would be the city of Rochester. The other options would be starting our own police department and looking at it like that. There are options out there. We're looking into it, and on top of that, we're being told that it's not gonna stop at 40%. They wanna keep going, and it's gonna go up, so we'll go from $550,000 over $1,100,000 in 3 years, 4 years.
We got it right here.
That's a lot of money, you guys, that comes out of our property taxes. Now, there's other places it comes out of. Obviously, it's not gonna be borne to all of, 100% onto us. And there's a lot of good that comes with it. There's been changes in the world with law enforcement. There's been, obviously changes in the way what they deal with. Costs go up every year. I understand that. But this is a really large change. And I would expect if it came in anywhere within our budget, that I would want you guys to be telling us to check every option possible. But if there is absolutely, like I said, my name's only in it because I'm on the personnel committee. I live in Stewartville because I wanna leave work. I don't really wanna see Rochester cops driving around my neighborhood. I know they're damn professional and we'd get great coverage. But if that happens, I feel like I'm working where I live, and that's not something that I personally desire. So, I do appreciate you bringing it up and saying that. I don't take any kind of disrespect for it. I don't accept it as somebody thinking they don't trust me. I will be honest with you, I've been a union president up there, so I'm usually butting heads with the city of Rochester for all my 20 out of my 23 years. So I wouldn't profit a dime out of it. Nothing changes. It doesn't help me personally. So nor does it even help my department necessarily.
I'll absolutely tell you, before we even came to this, I asked Craig if he wanted to recuse himself from any votes or anything on this. I gave him the option to completely step away, so you folks didn't feel like this.
And I absolutely still will too. That would be great, because that way I don't have to lose sleep over feeling like I'm battling with my own Olmsted County Sheriff's Office, which I respect greatly.
But you haven't so far, so.
No, there just hasn't been anything. Tonight's the only vote. It's about whether we're gonna go out for a bid. And when we do discussions, obviously they want me in the discussions because I understand all the call numbers, which kind of calls require more than one person responding. And that's all just for research. As far as any decision made, my vote doesn't mean squat. So I gladly recuse myself from that.
That's not a problem. We'll do that. We'll gladly do that.
I don't have any problem at all. That actually takes pressure off me. I like it.
Yep, it takes a lot off him, it really does. So we'll change that vote, that motion. Who's gonna have the ability to, at this table, to do that with me and Bill? Bill?
Mayor, or,
Joe?
keep going to citizens if you
Okay,
want.
Joe.
Can I step up? I'm Joe Jacobson, I live at 204 3rd Avenue Southwest in Stewartville. And I just want to say thank you, Bill, for what you've done and what you are gonna be doing in the future. But I can also say thank you to the sheriff's department and what they've done and how they've taken care of this town, and even our sheriff and the deputies and everything are part of this town, and I think it's a huge slap in the face to not work with them first, maybe, to try to, and maybe you have 3 times, whatever the case may be, to try to see. I can tell you, I stood at in this same room many years ago and suggested that we look at adding police officers then. I went to each council member, I sat with each council member, the mayor, I went to the school, we talked about a school resource officer, we talked about preventing things like this from escalating and getting bigger and bigger. Obviously, the town gets bigger and, you know, crime becomes more and more and more, but the sheriff's department's done an excellent job, and I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
I'll piggyback on yours right now. Absolutely. There's nothing to suggest, not one decision this route or the way it's gone is anything other than negotiation problems. Because contracts are not a one-way street, and ever. It's always, you know, this is what we propose, this is the way we go back, what can we work with? And the best contracts are the ones where we both get a little something and we both probably don't get everything we want. I've been very disappointed in my years that we haven't been able to get a school liaison officer. That was a push of mine from day one. That and Taco Bell. Taco Bell's coming, so that's a good thing. But you know, and if you recall with the liaison officer stuff, there had been discussion, you know, which should be a shared cost like it is in other areas between the county and the school district, of course. And the school district should probably bear the most of that cost, I would say, because it's a bigger tax base as well. But we would have skin in the game too.
In summertime, maybe patrol officers.
That could help too. Yeah, there's a lot of options there. But we've tried and it hasn't worked out. And because of the fact that we didn't want these humongous jumps in the budgets, we've stayed out of it until we could actually get other money to get in there. The sheriff is correct. He's brought up in the past, you know, depending on growth, you guys are gonna have to increase your budget. We're aware of that. But then,
I brought statistics back then, because I compared to Byron and the number of calls and the things like that, and it was just like, no, there's really not a problem here.
So, well, and now we're being told the opposite. And so it's a big change on that. The other thing, if you recall too, is that we had an area in town where the mobile home area, or the mobile homes or manufactured homes, that they pushed hard for a very large increase for their population in that area of town.
Right.
And we refused to rezone it, and we ended up being sued for it. We were successful in that lawsuit, largely because of the testimony of 2 people, the school superintendent and our sheriff. And what did they both say? If this goes through, it will overpopulate our schools, and it will create the need for a law enforcement cost increase that the city is not prepared for. So we stood strong in court. And that was a risky thing. There were some costs involved with that at the time. And because of that, we ended up winning that. Now within less than a year, we're being told that we actually have to double what they would have been asking for in the first place. So I think it's very
Costs
clear.
are going up, and I think you're gonna find that out. Is there a way that there could be a citizen advisory committee or something to help with this, this look? Because I think there's a lot of citizens that really care about the town, and I don't like to pay taxes anymore, and I don't even like paying my water bill. You know,
So we have a special meeting coming up that we need to discuss these options, because clearly this is something that nobody's prepared to go forward with just a motion without everything being on the table. So our city staff is researching.
Would probably pay more to have a good service that we know we.
Correct, which is why page and shared and my council one and my other one to try to get input from some citizens, and I shared the story that was on KAL and just said, I just said simply, I want your input. How much are you guys willing to pay for it? If people are willing to pay for it, I don't care about my property taxes going up. Clearly I'm a fan of law enforcement, you know, but in one of the things that we'll discuss on Thursday is, do we want to have a public forum? So there's the possibilities out there. And I think most of us would lean towards having a public forum. We do it for any other huge expense, CIP projects, you know, and I can't tell you the route it's going to go because I'm only one voice and I can't tell these guys what to do. But nothing's gonna be done without transparency. This is a really big topic. It's been the biggest pain in the ass topic for me since I've been on this council. And I never, ever expected to be losing sleep over a law enforcement decision. That to me is insane. But there's right ways to go about things and there's wrong ways to go about things and there's ways that you can maybe be more successful in the way you go about doing it. And there's just certain times that we all need to ask questions. And I think government needs to ask questions, not as much as you guys need to ask questions of us though. Because I know I got a whole lot of questions for my federal government, and so, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, and it's gotta be that way. And I appreciate you guys coming, and we kind of went out of order, because normally you're not allowed to talk till the end. So, the mayor let us break. But that should also be seen clearly, that the mayor is willing to do that.
Yeah.
Last thing you wanna do.
The CIB and the city of Stewartville, it's been excellent communication,
Right.
transparency throughout all of that in my neighborhood and throughout the rest of the town. Appreciate that very much. So the city's doing great
Joe,
things in
the
that.
long and short of it, Joe, is we're not mad at any certain, it's not the law enforcement we're mad at, not the sheriff's department. We're not mad. It's a 40% increase that the only place we can get this from is out of your back pocket.
Is there any other?
We try to do 20%.
We try to negotiate.
We've been trying to say, hey, how about this? 1 year at a 20% increase, and then another 20.
With some type of economic development or any other services or COVID dollars or whatever maybe.
There's your Carla question.
As
All tax-based. That's it's part of the general budget. It's all tax-based. Law enforcement is from there. We can't, the money from the COVID dollars, the American Relief Act, are very strict in what they can be used for. That's not one of the things, you can't use them for that.
Does it say that? I mean, would you be able to point that out where it says it can't be, or is it say?
It can only be used for very specific things, and that is not one of those things. And like for us, we can only use them for three very specific things. And infrastructure is pretty much the only thing we're gonna be able to use them for.
Okay, if I could talk to you offline about that,
Yeah.
that'd be great, because I think there are some things that you can do outside of what you might think is normal in that budget.
That'd
At
be
least what
fine.
I'm hearing from economic development people.
The thing we want you folks to know, and we appreciate you coming here, we appreciate your input, we've been waiting for input, to be honest with you. This isn't an off-the-cuff decision. We've had 3 negotiations. We've offered up, like they said, a 20% increase, which is still a sizable increase. We were prepared for our increase. I mean, we knew things were going up. But when your budget is at $550 and all of a sudden they come in and want $250,000 more dollars, it can be done. I'm not saying it can't, but it's all coming out of your guys' back pocket. We just feel we need the options of looking at other things. Maybe this moves everything forward. Maybe it is time to look at our own police force, where we have our own
And I think about that in the past, and others that I've talked to the sheriff about it, it's not as easy as having your own police department for training and all the other insurance and all the other things that happen. Your costs really skyrocket. if you
We
want that
understand.
same
We're
service.
actually, Joel, we've got the budgets and very detailed budgets from 5 other cities, some larger, some smaller than us,
That have that police
that
department.
have their own police department.
Yes.
And we would still have the protection of the sheriffs for felonies and stuff like that, because you do pay county taxes yet, and part of your taxes are for police protection. And then, just so the understanding is there is, you pay county taxes, the $550 we're talking about with the $250,000 ad, that's above and beyond your county taxes that you're already paying.
Right.
So we're looking out for
I-
you. We're not doing this to punish anyone or harm
Pay for what
anyone.
you get also. So I mean.
I understand
you
that.
gotta-
I understand
We
that.
gotta compare apples to apples and.
Well, there's a lot of apple comparing going on, Joe, I wanna tell you.
Yeah, there's some areas that are funding their own police departments for the area of $700,000, $750. But a lot of headaches with that, like you've heard me say it before, man. I mean, training, you're probably always gonna have the newest cops, unless, if you're lucky, you get a good chief that sticks around.
Right.
But there's a lot of costs there. There's cars that have to not only be purchased, outfitted, fixed, insurance. I mean, a lot of headaches, but there are a lot of pluses out of it. If we ask for specific extra duties, we can get them. We get them from Jason right now. Jason's great. If we ask hey, can you look into this? He does it, but depending on how many cops we have to hire full-time, then we might not be able to pay for that for a year, or however it takes. We're looking at everything, and, you know, when you have your own thing, it's great to have that control over that department, rather than if the sheriff says we're too busy and we need to take our resources from there over to here, and we just have to sit and take that, and that's problematic as well. So, I mean, I can tell you there is a lot to consider with this. So, you know, personally, I'm hoping we do a public forum that lasts less than 24 hours, but it's,
I can tell you, he's relieved that he's gonna be relieved from this.
I actually am, man. I'll buy you a beer at the Down Under after this. Thank you.
That was great.
But you guys you don't have a problem with me sitting with these guys so I can answer law enforcement questions for them, do you? I mean, as long as I'm not making any decision that could be perceived to financially help my department or myself,
I
right?
will, very upfront part about the whole deal is, he's always been one of the bigger promoters of Olmsted County Sheriffs down here. I've always been one of the bigger fighters against having our own force. But things are moving the wrong direction as far as our budget goes. And our budget comes out of your pockets, and that's what we're looking at. That's why we're checking every possible option we can get. I hope that answers some of your questions.
Well, information is a good thing.
Yeah.
See, there wasn't a lot of information about this coming up here.
This kind of,
Well, we've talked to everybody we can find out, man. I've been talking to the county board, I've been talking to the county administrator, talking to the county chair. I've been trying to get people on social media to discuss stuff. I know I've been out personally and talking out loud to as many people as I could.
to get into this dialogue, you suggest following you on Facebook, is that how you?
Well, I mean, I have a city council page too, that you can certainly look at. I'll be honest with you, I don't live my life, I mean, if you even look at my personal Facebook, you're basically, I'm just saying, you're basically gonna see that the Vikings are great and the Packers suck.
Oh!
But, I'm just saying. So, I'm pretty sure it's Stewartville. Let me double check, I got a Google map here. Yep, Stewartville, Minnesota. Okay, I got it, Minnesota Vikings.
Born and raised in Wisconsin.
But on my council page, I just did, all I did, and I do it very rarely, I'm not one that promotes everything through social media, but I did just throw that article when it came, I shared it on both my personal and that one, and you'll see, if you look at it, you're gonna find that the sheriff obviously took real close account to it, because anytime anybody did comment, he was responding within a minute. So I don't know, I mean, I would never ever look at my Facebook page that close, nor do I want to. But, so, yeah, I think we try to share some of the stuff. There's been a couple articles out there. Right when this first was asked, Mark wrote an article right away that I was interviewed for. And that got it out there where it said, hey, be prepared, this is a big increase to our property taxes if this goes through. You know, generally speaking, that would bring a lot of people here. If we throw chickens in the city of Stewartville into this, maybe we'll get more people showing up. But you know, also, you know, there's still the COVID stuff too, why people don't want to come as much too. So that throws a loop into it. But I do think, I mean, I'm guessing if we did a public forum, even if you guys couldn't make it, you guys would think that would be a good, proper opportunity for discussion, right?
Yes.
How soon was it put on the agenda? I mean, was it yesterday, the day?
The minute the agenda came out, she threw this out.
Monday morning? Okay, so that's what I think people are asking is how do we see an upcoming agenda soon enough to be able to.
But keep in mind, this is the smallest ask we've had of anything probably in 3 years. This is hey, let's just say, like, I mean, if we have the next thing coming up, approval of a contract for Northwest City repairs. And we put out for bids. That's super common, and it's not, you know, I mean, so just asking Bill Schimmel to reach out to RPD just to see if they would even do it. It's really not even anything. That's hardly newsworthy. It should be news.
This is just like if we were bringing a bus company to town, Joe, we'd probably want to check out 2 different bus companies.
And, you know, I was gonna bring that up, you know, our costs have went up considerably, our insurance went up 40%. And so, it's not uncommon that this is happening right now in today's world.
Right.
That costs are going through the roof. And especially in law enforcement as you think about what they're going through and what they're doing. But I also want to just say that, you know, I have a lot of respect for the sheriff, I have respect for the sheriff. And I think we need to trust him because he is part of this town and he is somebody that has earned respect over the years.
Well, one thing I also want to remind all of you, we're glad to hear that you're not opposed to raising your taxes. Because when we sit here during truth and taxation, we hear the exact opposite year after year after year. So I want you to know that it's, I'm not saying it's easy to sit.
Law enforcement versus my water, I'd probably. So, I mean, that's it.
But you know as well as I do, and it's not on the TV, and see the public non-support for law enforcement.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's great to hear you saying this, but there's gonna be a hell of a lot of people yelling at me if their property taxes go up a couple $100, they're gonna be pissed off. Now, and I think I could stand there and I could argue it.
Prevention, I mean, years ago and added more law enforcement.
But my personal opinion, you gotta understand, none of our personal opinions mean anything here though. We have to listen to the people that elected us. I mean, that's ultimately what it
We're
comes down
listening to
to.
you too. I mean,
Yeah, I love your attitude. I hope you show up and I hope you have that attitude at a public forum. I mean, that's what I want.
Is there any chance of having some type of advisory committee also, besides just a public?
something we'll discuss on this next meeting, Joe. I mean, everything's up for discussion.
I
This is,
appreciate your time.
none of this is a done deal by far.
Right.
We're kind of rushing now, just trying to figure out which way we should head, because let's face it, budgets are gonna be set shortly.
Yeah, and to say about, going out and getting, there's times that, I don't. If I know what I want and it's proven itself well, and I trust the people that I'm getting it from, I understand.
There you go.
And it's not as simple as going with the cheaper, I hate that word, cheaper.
No, we're not saying that either, Joe, but you just answered a lot of questions that are floating around when you said, I'm the same way. I've been an independent businessman for my entire life. I don't always go the cheapest route, but I do expect to get what I pay for.
That's right. I agree. All right, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Joe. And thank you, folks. I don't know your names, I'm sorry, but thank you. Now, Bill?
Just because it came up during the discussions, each of the council have talked to me individually, and as the mayor pointed out, not one of them, this is not some red or cross out of law enforcement. They're all pro law enforcement.
Absolutely.
The problem came up with, we were presented with an ultimatum. It's either this or you're not gonna get it. And that's what disappointed the council in saying, because the council, the majority of them were willing to go with some increase, right out of the chute, day one, but it was the size. And then when the offer from the council said, can we work with you? Can we sit down with you and work out some kind of compromise? That's when they were told, this is an ultimatum. You're either gonna take this or there's not gonna be any service.
And I can see.
And that's what, and that's what prompted the council to say, okay, we do get citizens that ask about our own police department someday. We do get asked, what's a fair balance? What kind of coverage do our citizens want? So they've been trying to weigh out so much. And so this is just part of the research.
Yeah, and I totally get that, and I understand that, I don't like to use the word ultimatum, but it might be that Stewartville is getting more than what they're paying for, and at some point, we gotta come to, Jesus moment and say, hey, we gotta get back up to here because it's coming out of other areas of my budget to cover all the calls in Stewartville that we're doing.
If I totally agree with what you just said, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. That's where I'll leave that one.
All right.
The other quick thing, Joe, you said sometimes decisions on your own, they're forced to look out over 6,000 people.
I understand.
And
And I hope
sometimes
the people,
those decisions
come out
have to weigh get balanced, yeah.
and hopefully it's not mass versus non-mass, but we have that problem.
We're not crossing that bridge tonight.
No, I don't even bring that one up. Thanks.
So, Bill and Cheryl, do we have to go back and amend and do a different motion in a second one with me staying out of it?
You can just amend it and appoint one of the other ones.
Do what?
You need to appoint one of the other three then.
So I
In the motion.
I wasn't part of the motion or the second, it was those two that did it.
So
the two
then
people
it's be amended to have one of the other three in there besides you.
It says it in the notes that you're on it, so you.
Yeah, but in the official record, it'll change.
So the two folks that made the motions, they basically have to agree to amend their motions to take you off and add one.
Right, and then I don't vote on it either then, I'll
And you
abstain.
abstain from everything.
Okay, yep, okay, fair enough. So you're just gonna change the motion that, to allow Bill and the mayor to be involved in that?
I'll change my motion then to have,
There should be one other of you in there, so that there's 3 people.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Which one, who wants to jump in there?
I'll change to my motion to, have Bill and Jimmy John, the mayor, and one other council member to go,
Name the council.
propose.
You need to name it, don't you?
So any one of you other 3 can volunteer and then just.
You wanna volunteer, you wanna
You're
volunteer?
gonna make Bill do all the work anyway.
I can do it.
You're gonna do it?
I can do it,
Okay. Yeah.
We'll change your motion to that.
even though I'm gonna do it. I'll make a motion that to authorize Mayor King, Councilmember Fire, and Administrator Schimmel to start communications with Rochester Police Department in regards to law enforcement coverage.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Jeremiah seconded again. All right, thank you for all the discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
And I abstained, right, so that's clear.
Councilmember Emerson is continuing.
Volunteering.
You know, all it is Bill sending an email, for God's sake, it's not gonna take anything else.
All right, that moves us on to the next item of general business. And that will be 20th Street Northwest maintenance repairs. This project is for maintenance on 20th Street Northwest. We are repairing the 2 settle areas. You folks are welcome to leave if you want to. Yeah. See you, Joe. Thanks for coming. We are repairing the 2 settle areas on the 20th Street. We have received bids from Rochester Sand and Gravel and Elcor for this project. The project is estimated to be less than $25,000. Rochester Sand and Gravel came in at $22,027.50. Elcor came in with a bid of $33,105. This project will also include curb and gutter concrete work done by Legends for $6,298. Staff is recommending that we use the lowest bidder, Rochester Sand and Gravel. Council action will be to approve or deny the Rochester Sand and Gravel low bid to perform the 20th Street Northwest maintenance, in which will include in the bid Legends, correct?
Correct.
I mean, added to the bid, this is.
So it'll be 28,000.
Yeah.
Sean, what are we doing out there?
We're going to, the 2 rough areas lower, there's some added settled. There've been sewer work there in the past.
Yep.
And it appears that the whole sewer line where they didn't get it pamped good enough and settled there. So we're going to mill above, on the edges above that, and then put a leveling layer in there. And then we're going to mill the edges and put a wear course over the top of it, an overlay, basically, over those 2 bad areas. It's not gonna be perfect, because we're not doing everything, we're just doing the 2 extremely bad areas. We assume, we're looking at that road as gonna be a CIP project, 10 years down the road approximately, something like that. It's just too bad to ride out 10 years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm the one that brought this forward, because it's gonna be a liability, because in the wintertime, when it gets icy out there, you see the cars hit that, and if it gets icy, they're all over out there. So I just feel we should fix it if it's gonna be that long down the road.
I've actually heard people that have mentioned it'd be a good idea to do it. I mean, it's,
Including Helcon,
Yep.
who's right next to it with all their trucking, right adjacent.
The one area, the area that we have to redo the sidewalk is, the 2 large culverts that go under the road under Helcons from the trailer park over there. And it's just been settling around those joints, around the culverts, I mean. And then the curbs all broke up there. So that's the area curb we're gonna replace and get it, so the water can flow down to the low point. There's spots that hold water back. We're getting some undermining in the curb and stuff like that, because of water that's held back there and stuff like that, so.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions for Sean? All right, we're looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve it.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. That takes us to mayor's staff consultant reports. City of Stewartville tonight would like to send their sympathies to the family of Jerry Asselson, Dick Billings, Ken Egan, Joyce Rucker, Alden Marburger, Gus Lex, and John Breezy. We're gonna send out our 50th anniversary wishes to Bob and Cheryl for our happy 50th and many, many more. Trash and Treasure Day will be September 17th and 18th. The Fall Festival is September 18th. And if you've watched in the paper or as you drive by out here on Highway 30, members of St. John's are sharing their food harvest. And it's available for anyone who wishes to use it. There's different vegetables in there at all times. There might be tomatoes, corn, zucchini. I'm sure there's a lot of zucchini. Cucumbers. There's a lot of good looking veggies out there ready for everybody to take, and that's what they're there for. They don't want them to go to waste. They want people to use them. So that's all I've got for right now. I'll get to the other one when we get to communications. Bill? Say, Miss.
Report today, so I won't extend my section.
No report. Any questions for the administrator while we got him here?
I kinda like that.
The half show.
Finance Director Carla?
Working on trying to get prelim budget, on a holding pattern right now, but we have to get, our due date to the county is the end of September, so we have about 30 days to get things buttoned up.
All right. Any questions for Carla? No city engineer tonight. Whoops, excuse me. We forgot about Sean, the Public Works Director. How about your report, Sean?
You can keep on going. Report in there, the one thing we did that the guys started yesterday is we started tearing out that retaining wall down at the Florence Park.
Oh, okay.
And we got kind of leveled up, marked out what we're gonna do with the improvements there. Some of that rock did come out in nice big chunks. We saved it down at the shop. We're gonna try and reuse some of that to build a base for the gearbox for the old mill. And that'll be one of the things that's described in that history little center that we're gonna have there. To me, and we also removed all the rocks down at the bottom of that parking lot, and it just looks so much cleaner and nicer down there. So if you're in the area, swing by, take a look at and see what's going on there.
This wall's coming along nicely.
Yeah, the matchup with the block or the stone.
It looks a lot
is
like
good.
stone on the building.
They'll come back with some grout coloring, so it should even enhance it that much more to match the building.
And I hear the waterway's looking really good out there. Really coming along nice.
Dan was happy with that. Out here, we will be, Jeff wanted us to not back until the latter half of this week. So depending on what the weather does, we'll try. It might be till next week before we get in there. But we can start backfilling it probably on Thursday if it's not too wet and sloppy.
I guess as long as Jim's not here, how's the street project staying on schedule?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
They're going to start blacktopping Friday or Monday. Everything's on schedule with that. We had a couple issues. I know we gotta look at Joe's sidewalk, a couple issues to fix up there, but nothing major, and they should be wrapping up in the next couple of weeks.
Did your central sewer problem hold up the road out here for some reason, or no? Or it's just how long it's taken?
No, well, they're just, they don't have the blacktoppers coming in till this week. So it's kind of just been, I mean, they got it leveled up and bladed and everything.
Right.
So when they pull that in, they blacktop everything. They don't, mobilization is a big cost to them. So they try and do everything at once and wait till everything's ready to go.
There was a bunch of infrastructure, you know, where the phone company's vault building was, and what they had to work around and weave around took a little more time too. And then we helped out the school district. They wanted to change that back parking lot area, so we helped get that worked through, that they take care of, but we coordinated.
We put a drop-off lane in there. So Tiger and Time has a drop-off in that backside. So now they have a lane to pull up outside there and drop kids off so they're not out in traffic.
And just one follow-up thing when Sean was talking about Florence Park, I know Jeremiah's brought it up because the park board's been working on it, but for the public that doesn't kind of remember or recall, that plaza thing we're turning out will be a whole historical type plaza with signage that represents the lake, the dam, and the mill. And there'll be those all-weather signs that give the narrative for each, for the future history of our community.
Well, thanks, Sean, for all the work you guys have done this summer, and especially helping out the concert series out there and stuff like that too. Tell the guys thanks a lot. Things are looking good. Any other questions or anything for Sean? All right. Now we get to skip the city engineer and we get to go to library director Nate.
Above and beyond what's in my report, we pulled in over $600 on our book sale, which at 50 cents a book is really a lot of books.
You got any books left in the library?
These were all items that were withdrawn from the collection as we make room for other stuff. We were just hoping to give a bunch of, and almost at every other book sale, you never have enough kids' books. And this was like all kids' books. It never works this way. So it was really, really cool that we were able to do this. And we'll never be able to do it again. And so it was great. And it was a really great way to send off our, Abby and Alyssa. And, you know, it was really nice seeing a lot of crowds. You know, we've been working really, really hard to provide great service, and I have virtually no photographs of anything to show for it for the last year and a half. So I might have been going a little overboard, but I was just like, I have people I can take pictures of. So that was just really great. And otherwise, we are not doing a kit for September with back to school and getting ready for some, but we did do the kit that's available now. We've made extras of that. If people want to continue to do that, it's a build your own superhero with
Pipe cleaner.
Yeah, thank you.
I pay attention to your reports.
Better than I do. And we also are starting a take-home sensory bin for preschoolers. So the first one is sea-themed. Sarah actually dyed rice blue, so it looks like the ocean, and has little sea creatures that kids can play around in. And we got a materials grant to provide books to go along with the sensory bins. So it's gonna be a nice little program for the next year or so for preschoolers. And we're even doing kits in English and Spanish for bilingual folks.
When do you get all your new staff on board?
So we have posted for Sue's position. So I'm hoping that we can get a new person on board before she takes off. And Ava has already started. She's in Hawaii right now. But she just
We must pay our age well.
Yeah. We front loaded to that PTO. And Lydia, now that council has approved her, I plan to get her on board by week's end.
Okay, good.
Get her trained up before school starts.
Good. Any other questions for Nate? All right, thank you, Nate. No. So we're gonna go directly to pool director Jake. Let's see a top nature coach, right?
That's a lot of people in open swim, man.
It's a lot. You want me here? Does it matter?
You're all right.
Fine.
Alright. We are winding down. We have 28,000 for open swim, and that does not include swim lessons, which that would be an interesting number. If we add those up to see how many kids we've had. We had another back to school bash, which was very successful. And that was a big thanks to the chamber. They helped put that on. We had about 120. During the 4th of July, we had 220, so it was more than I thought it would show, but it was good. We did change the hours after swim lessons. We've gotten some compliments on that, just to give people more time. And let's keep it open till night. What else?
How'd the firemen behave the other day?
The firemen? I was actually at a fundraiser, but stuff was there. But they said they behaved. It's like they know how to deal with water or something.
Just out of curiosity, you know, the last few years, do you have any idea? Is this like normal, 28,000, or is this high, or?
So the record.
I was kind of curious.
The record is 45 that we have. That was a really hot summer about 5 years ago. But there was also not as many swim lessons. Okay. So that's why it would be curious. I mean, it's been colder, but we're not gonna hit that. But they also back then didn't count the swim lessons either. But
I was just curious if this is average or below average or
I think this is above. I mean, we're averaging probably till August 450 to 500 people a day. Just in that 12:30, it's busy. I've heard a lot of comments from Fairway. People are mad because we keep buying out the ice cream, but that's all right. People like ice cream on holidays. We plan on staying open through Labor Day. That is very dependent on staff. We have a ton of college kids. We're trying to work around the high schoolers with sports. I know some of the vendors are surprised we're even still open as other pools have shut down. Like Rochester's both shut down this week. I even had to suit up and guard, and no, I did not wear my trunks that I wore 10 years ago. They would not fit. Other than that, kind of as the year winds down, just a huge thanks to Dan Harris and Jake Chop, do a great job. Every city worker here has helped me a ton first year, answering questions. I'm sure they're sick of me. But no, it's been really good. I think people were happy that something was open.
Yep.
And back to normal. And
Touch on that a little bit. Jacob Chop stepped up and he's going to be the successor to Dan as Dan nears retirement. He's not saying he's gonna go next year, but next year we're probably going to have, and we talked with Dan about this, Jake is going to be the main guy at the pool next year. And then have him there for a year with Dan still here so that he's running it, but then Dan's there for backup if he needs it.
Yep.
So that's the succession planning we had going.
Good.
he does very, very well. So, easy guy to work with.
Any other questions for our pool director? Jake, you've done a wonderful job so far. See if we can get another like 22,000 in.
If you show up to aerobics where I'm going right now, we might get that. Want me to tell them you're coming?
Yeah, tell them we'll be there, but this meeting don't go much longer.
Guest appearance?
Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
See ya.
Thanks, Jake. That'll take us committee commission board reports, Chamber of Commerce. Well, you got anything you want to say for the chamber or not?
You'd be happy to hear we're raising money for fireworks already. We had a tip night last night at Pizza Ranch and went very well.
Awesome.
We're raising funds already.
Wonderful. EDA HRA.
Taco Bell walls are up.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Have you practiced going through the drive-up?
Not yet, but I pay close attention though.
All right, let's see, minutes will be in the next one, I guess. Finance.
We're gonna be broke.
All right. No meeting planned to let us know how broke we're gonna be or anything, or?
Nothing.
All right. Library,
Minutes are in your packet.
that's all you got to add? You didn't go to the book sale and buy any books or anything?
No, but I was represented by my daughter.
Or?
I would say, we would not have had a quorum if it weren't for Brett, so he was like our anchor man.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I was very important there.
Raise your hand next time, Nate, maybe I won't call on you. Park board.
Minutes are in there, nothing really there.
Personnel,
Had a special meeting tonight and I presume those minutes will make it into the next packet.
planning and zoning,
We meet in September.
public safety, nothing. Public works,
No reports.
ready,
No report.
roll call.
No report.
Stu 180,
No updates.
transit advisory committee.
No report.
God.
I can't believe he hasn't like tried to get that moved to the front of the meeting. Get the hell out of here.
All right, we have a couple communications tonight. One's from People's Energy Cooperative. You can read through that. And the other one I want you to take special note of,
Yeah, that was very nicely written by the city of Yoda.
because it points out another reason this city is the city to live in, and it's a friendly city it is. It's from the city of Yoda, it's about, our water clerk Angelique. She took the time to go help them work on their water billing system that's similar to ours that they didn't know about. She took the time to do a follow-up, which she's already done. We've got that kind of staff in every department, library, city hall, public works, they'll go out of their box, they'll get things done. I want our citizens to understand that. I want them to understand they're worth every penny. They get more than they pay for out of the staff that we have here. And I'd like to really congratulate Angelia on this one. Staff at this building usually gets pretty upset with me when I point one of them out. But I'm gonna do it, and if I get another one of these, whoever it is gonna get pointed out too. That's just the way it is, because these people deserve the recognition, what little recognition of the good stuff that's going on all the time that they get, I feel. So, thank you, Angelique, thank you all the staff I think this council should give them all a hand. They're all great people to work with. Pat yourself on the back, staff, not you. Because you showed up for one meeting.
I show up for every meeting.
Anyhow, I don't know if any of you council, if you have anything to add to that, but I think we should all be very proud of the people we have working in this community. So, that being said, I think we don't need the open mic because they all stood up when they weren't supposed to, so.
Can I utilize the open mic?
Yeah, go ahead, get up there.
Please, just.
Sorry about that.
You gotta read the thing now?
You want me to read the whole thing, or do you remember?
No, that's.
You got-
I believe so.
You only got 4 minutes, you better not mention my name. And we're not gonna give you an answer tonight, let me tell you that.
Dan Mulholland, 600 North Main. I understand that there's some possible public does not want any conflict of interest with law enforcement discovery negotiating. I would like to encourage city council to utilize the expertise that is on the board, regardless of whether they vote or they sit down. I would like to encourage the council to use our professional people outside of this table, their knowledge, their abilities, and their experience in the decision-making regarding law enforcement, because there's a lot of intelligence here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and we do, we listen to the voice of reason that knows what we don't know what we're talking about, and we appreciate that. We just don't want anybody to feel like we're trying to ramrod somebody or do something. That is not our intention, and we are not doing it.
I understand that.
And I know he's relieved that he got out of that. I mean, this has been a terrible, this has been a terrible burden on him. It really has. It put him in I asked him way back, and Craig will tell you that, do you want to be just recused from all this? No, he was willing to be our somewhat, I guess like you put it, our expert that we rely on.
We utilize the knowledge of our fire chief
That's right.
from outside of our city.
Yep.
And I'd like us to continue to utilize that knowledge.
We do, and we will. So thank you for that.
Craig understands all the calls and the volumes, and that's why we have to use him.
Knowledge.
Yep.
I don't want to see you walk away in an important decision like this.
Thank you.
Plus you guys need me to make a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
So moved.
He always makes the motion. We got the motion, do we got a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?